Until Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, the consensus in Finland was that it wasn't necessary to join NATO. Since the Second World War, when Finland was temporarily occupied by Russia, the country developed and maintained the highest level of defence protection through public vigilance and deterrence, with a well-funded military which has conscription for young men for at least 1 year's mandatory service. Even throughout the peaceful post-Soviet era, Finland never let its guard down. Now, in this moment of untold volatility, Europe is hoping to learn from Finnish preparedness.
Finnish border guards have to be prepared for any low-level incident, but also including a full-scale invasion. This is Finnish territory, but also NATO territory. Also, not too far away from here is Russia's nuclear deterrence.
It's part of defense system of Finland, so we prepared also to part of Finnish territorial defense.
And what does that mean?
For example, we train our conscripts for our reserve, which is a useful tool if necessary on the wartime.
So basically a full-scale invasion?
Yeah, that's correct.
On the Russian border, conscripts are trained for the wide gamut of roles in the army, including sniper or marksman.
I've never held a rifle in my life, so first time shooting was in the army. You start off with the basic assault rifle, and I found out in the army that I have a gift for shooting. So that's how I got into this marksman.
Russian aggression in Ukraine has had dire consequences for the indigenous Sami people who are native to Russia, Finland and Norway. Finland's Sami people have had to cut ties from their Russian brethren, many of whom were forced into the Russian army to attack Ukraine.
One of the terrible things is that some of the Sami brothers on the Russian side have been forcibly conscripted to the Russian army and sent to the war front in Ukraine. And we have also lost at least, I think, 7 Sami young men. And it's a huge loss in a small community, about 2,000.
Europe now acknowledges the transatlantic alliance is not as viable as it once was. The US is now calling for Europe to help its war efforts in Iran, or risk them pulling completely away from helping Ukraine with military intelligence as it defends itself from Russia.
Ukraine is not a bargaining chip. As I said, a shift of attention also from the US would be a huge mistake. But what we have to do is to continue to convince the US that they have to be engaged to help Ukraine, and we have to do our job also to reinforce our support to Ukraine from the military, financial perspective.
Finland's border guard stretches 1,350 kilometres with Russia, the largest inside NATO, but the Finns say they're ready for anything. Shona Murray, Euronews, Giuseppe, Finland.